I remember when I was younger, one Christmas, I wrote down my list of all the things I wanted, and I used to play video games a lot. That was like a big thing, right? And all Christmas I was waiting for this video game. I wanted it so bad. And the whole day I threw a fit, right? The whole day I remember it. Like I remember making such a big deal about this thing. And my dad, right, kind of played it off like he didn't get it from me. And I never understood why he really did that. And then as Christmas kind of went on, towards the end, like, he bought me the video game. And the reason why I'm telling the story is because, I lost my dad in 2008. And there's so many times that I sit and, I wish I could have another conversation with my father. And it's like I'll go back there sometimes and wish I could talk to that selfish ass kid and tell him what actually matters from my perspective now. And I can't. But what I can do is talk to people about my experience and why I think it's important to understand that all you are and all you'll ever have is exactly right now. And there's power in that, and there's meaning in that, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think that's what people are missing in their lives. I think they're missing real meaning. And I think it's because everyone's been conditioned in some way through relationships they've had, through their family, through beliefs, through getting bullied at school, for just voicing your opinion, things that you like, things that you don't like. And how it becomes increasingly more difficult just to say anything. And I feel like people are scared to say anything anymore. People are scared to be themselves because they don't want to get judged, because everything's a wrong right. Everything's, you're not doing good, so you're not accepted. And that sucks to hear that. And the one thing that pisses me off is like the sex culture that we have that's created through social media, and how it degrades women. I really think it does, because like in guys' heads they want this image of this person, and that on social media, on the synthetic simulated fraction, like this simulated identity that we become increasingly more identified with, right, is just a lie. And the reason why I say that is because we're all trying to fragment the best part of ourselves all the time. And it's like when you meet someone, that's what you try to do, because that's what society thinks is good. Like that's what it is. And it's like an impossibility, right? It becomes impossible to do that because everyone always wants the best part of you all the time, and that's hard to maintain. You can't maintain it. It's like, and I feel like that's that's part of an issue with the reason why we can't form meaningful relationships with ourselves, right? And with each other. And I'm not saying in the sense of a relationship as in like dating someone, as in just like the friendships that we have with each other, because we're so scared to just talk and be open with each other, because we don't want to get judged, because it's always this win-lose thing. That's it. It's like you don't agree with me, then you suck. And to some extent that's exactly how it is, though. It's not funny. It's not. And I feel like there's a lot of people who are dying for those conversations, like they're starving, they're hungry for that. And I think we have a generation that's like starving for meaning. It's a meaning crisis, right? And it's like, I think we have to understand that things aren't the way that they appear face value, and that everyone's got a deeper story, and we have to stop treating each other face value. Like, we have to want to get to know each other deeply, because it matters. It's so important to understand that. Because it's like, I'm sure there's someone in your life that you're pissed off at right now. And, you know, you have this intention to want to hurt someone, and why that's bad. And why we're not treating each other as as these divine entities, right? And that there's no difference between anyone at all. That we are stuck in thought, and thought is your identity. And we're trying to think our way out of it. And the thinking is just a process that's based on the thought, so we're not actually getting to the root of the problem. And it's becoming an increasing... It's becoming more and more problematic as time goes on. And it becomes increasingly more difficult to understand that, because we become more and more fundamentalist in the sense of treating each other face value. And that's not who we are. You know, that's not who we are. So I think it's important to understand that we've all been conditioned in some sense. And it's important to educate yourself outside of everything else. And it's important to understand that, like, all you are is everything you have right now, and that's all you'll ever have. That's it. Because anything can happen. Anything can happen. And the moment that something kind of goes away, it destroys you. And it becomes a double-edged sword. Because it's like you instill everything you have in someone, and that you become scared they're going to leave because you can't be open with that person about how you really feel. And then you just... My buddy Eric phrased it perfectly. It's this codependency. It's this idea that you become dependent on each other, and that creates the happiness. But then once that breaks, it's depression, right? It's a loss of meaning, because you try to find happiness and identify happiness in things and ideas. Because we're not treating ourselves as people. Because if we really were, then we would see outside of all these things. But we can't. And I think until we can really see that and understand it and start working on ourselves as individuals, only until we sincerely do that, we won't be able to form real relationships. So, I just thought there's people out there who need to hear this, and I wanted to share it. So